Jay, members of the Mississippi Goon Squad, which was comprised of six police officers, have been sentenced, receiving the maximum of 20 years for their assaulting and torture of two black men. So, of course, these officers wore the badge. They were, there to protect and serve, but they wound up doing something of actually receiving other convictions leading back to 2019. So, what do you think is happening with our criminal justice system, and are we going to see more officers being brought to justice?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's nothing happening with it. It's been this way. I think that because of social media, things are being brought to light more. But it's been worse. You know what I'm saying? It's been worse. This is what's been happening. I'm sure our forefathers, just less than 100 years ago, maybe 60, 70 years ago, but definitely like, well, yeah, because back 60, 70 years ago, you talking about Mississippi, those boys would have been hanging. Those boys would have been hung. You know what I'm saying? And just because. And nobody would have done anything about it, right? So we're not going to jump for joy for progress, but at the end of the day, we're just going to be honest with ourselves and say, shit, that's stuff that's been happening, especially in a place like Mississippi. I just believe that we need to continue to tell our stories, continue to say something when we see something. I know a lot of young men and men, period, that's been through what these gentlemen been through will probably be obliged to not say anything because it's embarrassing, especially if they did sexual things to them and things like that. You don't want to say that somebody did something like that to you. And so that allows them to get off the hook, maybe you fear for your life. And I can't make you into a tough guy or forget all what these dummies be saying. Oh, you a coward, you this and like, look, everybody ain't built the same. And everybody ain't tough like that, you know what I mean? And then the sad part about it, we have these discussions openly about our sisters, and when they're victimized and they say, hey, nobody, is speaking up. But I've done studies and I've been able to do a documentary with people who was dealing with domestic violence and being abused and things like that. And the men were right there with the women not saying anything. That was the only thing that all of the survivors had in common, is spending years and years not telling anybody about their abuse. And so I believe that men are at a more of an alarming rate because they're going to be looked upon as weaker because you're supposed to be strong enough to not let nobody take advantage of you or do anything. And then, you have the law just stepping in and doing it. That's adding insult to injury. So we have to keep saying something when we see something and doing something about injustices that happen, because it's not about, when you talk about the law enforcement system, first and foremost, it wasn't created to stop anything, like prevent. It was always a reactional thing. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be the ones that be in a preventive mode. When somebody gets shot, the cops come after the fact. The cops ain't there to prevent somebody getting shot. You know what I'm saying? And until we make that adjustment, there's going to be a lot of things that continue to happen. But it's on us to be either be in preventative mode or make sure we do something, because it's up to their discretion on if they do something once they do get the information. But you can't be, or you can't leave a moment's notice, and it can't be any doubt about what you're going to do about the injustice that you're seeing and the things that you've been through, or somebody You have to be willing to fight back. You have to be willing to say something. It's not always a fist fight. You have to be willing to use your mouth, use the people that's around you, use the connection that you have so that these things can be fixed faster. I'm not saying it's going to stop it immediately, but what you do will prevent it. I promise you, because a lot of people don't do shit to people that they know they're going to do something back. They'll take the easier fight. So if we going to step up and do what we're supposed to do for our people, people would think twice, maybe even 3 times before they do the bullshit that they do.